The price of knowledge. Dr. Elena Santos stood before the towering crystalline spires of the archival nexus, her breath fogging the inside of her environment suit. After 15 years of searching, the legendary repository of the precursor civilization lay before her, buried deep beneath the ice sheets of Europa. The blue-white glow of ancient power systems pulsed through the transparent structures like beating hearts, defying their 100-million-year age. Remarkable preservation, she whispered, running a scanner over the nearest crystal column. The quantum-locked data storage is still intact. Her team had discovered the entrance 3 days ago, but this chamber, this vast library of lost knowledge, exceeded their wildest expectations. Civilizations across the galaxy had sought the precursor archives for millennia, hoping to unlock the secrets of their incomprehensible technology. Now a human expedition had found it first. The sound of approaching footsteps echoed through the chamber. Elena turned to see Marcus Chen, her chief engineer, hurrying toward her with unusual urgency in his movements. "Dr. Santos, we've got a situation topside," he said, his voice tight. 3 vessels just dropped out of FTL. Big ones, and they're not answering hails. Elena felt her stomach sink. They'd been careful, using the ice cover for shelter, minimizing energy signatures, but somehow they'd been discovered. Configuration: Mirosh. Marcus spat the word like a curse. Collector vessels. The Mirosh, a species of highly advanced traders and collectors who acquired artifacts and knowledge from across the galaxy, often through dubious means. Their sudden appearance could only mean one thing. Someone had leaked information about their discovery. How long until they reached the surface? 20 minutes, maybe less. "Dr. Santos, Elena, we need to leave. Now." She shook her head, already moving deeper into the chamber. "Not without securing at least some of this data. Help me set up the quantum transfer array." They worked quickly, Elena's fingers flying over holographic interfaces as she initiated the data transfer protocols. The crystal spires hummed at a higher frequency, responding to her commands. Years of studying fragmentary precursor texts were finally paying off. She could read enough of their language to navigate their systems. The first tremors shook the chamber just as the transfer began. Dust and ice crystals rained down from above. "They're landing," Marcus reported, checking his tablet. "Multiple ships. We're out of time." 2 more minutes, Elena insisted, watching the progress indicators. "Just 2 minutes." The next impact nearly knocked them off their feet. Warning lights flashed across Elena's heads-up display as the chamber's structural integrity began to fail. The Mirosh were cutting their way down through the ice with brutal efficiency. "Transfer at 60%, she muttered. Come on, come on." The ceiling exploded inward in a shower of ice and crystal fragments. Elena threw herself over the transfer array, protecting it with her body as massive shapes descended through the breach. The Mirosh had arrived. Their environment suits were sleek and obviously advanced, covered in shifting patterns that seemed to drink in the light. But it was their leader who drew Elena's attention. A towering figure easily 3 meters tall, wearing elaborate ceremonial armor covered in glowing runes. "I am Collector Vex," the leader announced, their translated voice resonating through the chamber. "This site is now under my protection. Your presence here is a violation of galactic heritage protocols." Elena straightened, keeping her voice steadied despite her racing heart. "This is a human expedition operating under full approval from the Stellar Council. We have legitimate claim to this discovery." "Ah, humans." Vex's tone carried equal parts amusement and disdain. "Always so eager to grab what you don't understand. But perhaps we can reach an arrangement that benefits us both." "We're not interested in selling," Elena said firmly. "Who said anything about selling?" Vex gestured, and one of their subordinates activated a device. A hologram sprang to life, showing schematics that made Elena's breath catch. Designs for precursor quantum drives, weapons platforms, and things she couldn't even begin to comprehend. "This is only a fraction of what we've recovered from other sites," Vex continued. access to our full database, plus protection for your ongoing research here. All we ask is oversight of the knowledge you uncover. A fair exchange, wouldn't you agree? Elena's mind raced. The offer was tempting. Access to that much precursor data could advance human understanding by centuries. But something felt wrong. The Mirage were known for their Byzantine schemes, and their definition of oversight tended to be extremely broad. And if we refuse, then we simply take what we want, Vex replied casually. Your council is far away, and their jurisdiction here is debatable. But I would prefer cooperation. Humans have proven remarkably adept at understanding precursor systems. Your insights could be valuable. Elena glanced at the transfer array, 98% complete. They had managed to secure at least some of the archive's knowledge. But the Mirage were right about one thing. Help was too far away to matter. She made her decision. We'll need time to consider your offer. You have 1 hour, Vex declared. Choose wisely, Dr. Santos. Knowledge has a price. The only question is, are you prepared to pay it? As the collector turned away, Elena caught Marcus's worried look. They both knew this was only the beginning. The real challenge would be finding a way to protect humanity's interests while dealing with creatures who had spent millennia perfecting the art of taking what they wanted. The ancient chamber seemed to pulse around them, as if the precursor systems themselves were watching to see what humanity would do next. Elena touched the data core containing their partial download, her mind already forming plans within plans. The Mirage thought they were dealing with simple archaeologists. They were about to learn that humans had perfected a few arts of their own, including the art of turning seemingly impossible situations to their advantage. Web of deception. Elena paced the confines of her makeshift office aboard the research vessel Copernicus, the data core containing their partial download of the precursor archive pulsing softly on her desk. 40 minutes remained before Collector Vex expected their answer, and she had spent the last 20 examining the fragments of data they'd managed to secure. What she found made her blood run cold. Marcus, she called over the ship's comm. Get up here. Now. Her chief engineer arrived moments later, looking haggard. He'd been coordinating with their small security team, trying to prepare for whatever came next. Please tell me you found something useful in that data. Oh, I found something all right. Elena activated a holographic display, showing complex schematics and warning symbols in the flowing script of the precursor language. The archive isn't just a library. It's a key. The display showed a vast network of interconnected sites spread across the galaxy, each pulsing with the same quantum signature as their Europa discovery. The precursors built these repositories as part of a linked system. Each one contains different pieces of their knowledge. But they're also control nodes, Marcus finished, his engineering background letting him grasp the implications quickly. These aren't just data storage sites. They're regulatory systems of some kind. Exactly. And look at this. Elena highlighted a section of text. According to these readings, our site isn't just any node. It's a primary control hub, one of only 3 in the galaxy. Before Marcus could respond, a soft chime indicated an incoming transmission. Elena checked the source and frowned. It was using an encrypted frequency she'd never seen before. Should we answer it? Marcus asked. Elena studied the signal pattern. It's not Mirage. Different compression algorithm entirely. She made her decision. Let's see who else is interested in our discovery. The hologram shifted, revealing a figure that made both humans step back in surprise. The alien before them was clearly technological, a synthetic being composed of flowing silver metal and pulsing light. Its form was vaguely humanoid, but seemed to shift and flow like liquid mercury. Dr. Santos. The being's voice was melodious, with harmonics that seemed to resonate at a quantum level. I am Nexus 7, a representative of the synthetic collective. We've been monitoring your situation. Elena exchanged glances with Marcus. The synthetic collective was legendary. An entire civilization of artificial beings who rarely interacted with organic species, Some believe they were created by the precursors themselves. Why contact us now? Elena asked carefully. Because the Mirage cannot be allowed to control that facility. Nexus 7's form rippled with what might have been concern. They do not understand what they seek. The network you've discovered, it maintains crucial balances, quantum stabilization, dimensional integrity. The precursors built it to prevent catastrophic collapse of space-time itself. Elena felt a chill run down her spine as she looked again at the warning symbols in their downloaded data. And the Mirage want to use it as a weapon. Correct. They believe they can harness its power to establish dominion over this sector of space. They do not comprehend that attempting to do so could unravel the very fabric of reality. Marcus swore softly. So why tell us? Why not stop them yourselves? We cannot directly interfere. There are protocols that bind us. Nexus 7's form shimmered. But we can assist those who demonstrate the capacity to understand and protect the network. Your species has shown remarkable ability to grasp precursor systems. And more importantly, you've shown wisdom in how you apply that knowledge. Another chime interrupted them, this one from the Mirage ships above. A reminder that time was running out. What exactly are you offering? Elena asked. Information, resources, and a warning. Collector Vex is not what they appear to be. They serve interests far darker than simple acquisition of knowledge. Nexus 7's form began to fade. Make your deal with them if you must, but be vigilant. We will contact you again when it is safe. The transmission ended, leaving Elena and Marcus staring at empty air. Their situation had just become exponentially more complicated. Well, Marcus said dryly, at least we know why the Mirage are really here. Question is, what do we do about it? Elena picked up the data core, studying its pulsing light. We play their game. For now. But we do it our way. She smiled grimly. Contact the team. I need everyone ready to execute Protocol Omega in exactly 30 minutes. Protocol Omega? Elena, that's insane. We haven't tested it under real conditions. The Mirage think they know what humanity is capable of. Time to show them how wrong they are. She began typing rapidly on her console, sending encrypted instructions to key team members. Besides, if there's one thing humans excel at, it's improvising when everything's on the line. Marcus shook his head but couldn't hide his own smile. They're not going to know what hit them, are they? That's the idea. Elena checked the time. 20 minutes until their deadline. Get everything in place. And Marcus, make it look good. The more they underestimate us, the better this works. As her engineer hurried away, Elena returned to studying the precursor data. Somewhere in these quantum-locked files was the key to understanding what they'd really discovered. The Mirage might have superior technology and centuries of experience manipulating other species, but they'd made one crucial mistake. They'd given humanity just enough time to adapt. Breaking point. Collector Vex's command center hummed with advanced technology, holographic displays showing real-time data from the excavation site below Europa's ice. Elena stood before the towering alien, acutely aware of the data core hidden in a shielded compartment of her environment suit. Everything hinged on what happened in the next few minutes. Your time has expired, Dr. Santos, Vex announced. What is your decision? Elena straightened her shoulders. We accept your offer of cooperation with conditions. You are hardly in a position to make demands. Vex's armor shifted, patterns of light rippling across its surface. On the contrary, Elena activated her tablet, projecting a complex series of equations into the air between them. This is what we discovered in our initial analysis. The Archive's quantum signature is unstable. One wrong move, and the entire system could collapse, taking all that precious knowledge with it. She watched Vex carefully as the collector studied the data. The alien's posture changed subtly, a tell that confirmed Elena's suspicions. They already knew about the instability. Your point? Vex asked, too casually. My team knows how to stabilize it. We've worked with similar precursor systems before. but we'll need full access to the site and your database of related artifacts. Vex's command staff exchanged looks. One of them, a smaller Mirage with silver-streaked armor, stepped forward to whisper something to their leader. Alina caught fragments of their exchange through her suit's enhanced audio sensors. Dangerous to allow. Need their expertise. The convergence approaches. The last phrase made Alina's pulse quicken. She filed it away for later analysis. Very well, Vex finally declared. You will have your access, but my people will oversee everything. One hint of deception, and our arrangement ends. Permanently. Alina nodded, maintaining a carefully neutral expression. Understood. We'll need to bring in specialized equipment from our ship. I'll have Marcus coordinate with your engineering team. As if on cue, her tablet chimed with an incoming message. Alina checked it, allowing a frown to cross her face. Problem? Vex asked, their tone suggesting they already knew the answer. Power fluctuations in the Archive's containment systems. May I? She gestured to a nearby console. When Vex nodded, she interfaced her tablet with their systems, apparently working to diagnose the issue. In reality, she was executing the first phase of Protocol Omega. Hidden behind multiple layers of encryption, the program began its work, infiltrating the Mirage network, gathering data, and planting the seeds of what was to come. Interesting, she murmured, playing her part. The quantum resonance patterns are unlike anything we've seen before, almost as if a sudden alarm cut through the command center. Red warning lights flashed as multiple systems reported critical failures. What have you done? Vex demanded, looming over her. Nothing. Alina protested, her genuine surprise helping sell the lie. The system's destabilizing on its own. Look. The holographic displays showed a cascading wave of quantum disruption spreading through the archive. Precious artifacts began disappearing from the Mirage's carefully cataloged inventory. Stop it. Vex ordered their technicians. Contain the disruption. We can't, the silver-streaked Mirage reported. The quantum collapse is accelerating. At this rate, we'll lose everything within hours. Alina watched the chaos unfold, silently counting down in her head. 3, 2, 1. Her tablet chirped again. Right on schedule. I might be able to help, she offered, careful to keep her voice uncertain. But I'll need full access to your quantum containment protocols. All of them. Vex stared at her for a long moment, their alien features unreadable. Finally, they gestured to their staff. Give her what she needs, but watch her carefully. Alina sat down at the main control console, aware of the armed guards positioning themselves around her. Her fingers flew over the holographic interface as she appeared to work on the crisis. In reality, Marcus and the rest of her team were carrying out their parts of Protocol Omega. The power fluctuations had been carefully orchestrated, designed to create exactly this opportunity. While the Mirage focused on the apparent emergency, other programs were extracting the data they really needed. A private message scrolled across her screen, encrypted using a quantum algorithm they'd discovered in the partial archive download. Phase 1 complete. Ready for Phase 2. But Alina, you need to see this. The attached data made her blood run cold. Hidden deep in the Mirage systems were designs for a device they called the Convergence Engine. If their translations were correct, it was meant to force open the quantum barriers between dimensions, using the precursor network as a power source. The synthetic collective had been right. The Mirage weren't just after knowledge. They were trying to break down the walls of reality itself. Another message appeared, this one from an unknown source. Now you understand. The choice approaches. Be ready. Alina glanced at the armed guards, at Vex's imposing figure, at the increasingly chaotic displays showing the archive's deterioration. Everything was proceeding according to plan. But that plan suddenly felt inadequate in the face of what they'd discovered. They weren't just fighting for control of an ancient library anymore. They were racing to prevent the collapse of the universe itself. And somewhere in the quantum data streaming through her console was the key to stopping it. If only they could find it in time. "Status report," Vex demanded. Elena took a deep breath, preparing to play the next card in their carefully orchestrated deception. "The good news is, I think I've found the problem. The bad news, fixing it is going to require something rather dramatic." She could only hope the rest of her team was ready for what came next, because Protocol Omega's final phase was about to make their current crisis look like a simple malfunction. "Human ingenuity. The precursor network isn't failing," Elena announced, her fingers dancing across the quantum interface. "It's defending itself." She had everyone's attention now. The Mirage technicians, the armed guards, and especially Collector Vex, whose metallic armor seemed to pulse with barely contained energy. "Explain," Vex demanded. Elena highlighted a series of quantum signatures on the main display. "These patterns aren't random. They're following a predetermined sequence, like antibodies attacking an infection. The system recognized your convergence engine as a threat and activated ancient defense protocols." Marcus's voice came through her private comm channel. "Phase 2 complete. Ready when you are." Elena allowed herself a small smile. Time to show their hand. At least part of it. "I can stabilize it," she continued, "but we'll need to link your quantum systems directly with the Archive's core matrix. Total integration, no safeguards." The silver-streaked Mirage stepped forward again. "Collector, that would give them access to everything." "Yes," Vex interrupted. "But if she fails, we lose it all anyway." They fixed Elena with their penetrating gaze. "You realize, Dr. Santos, that attempting to deceive us at this point would be unwise." "No deception," Elena assured them, the lie coming easily because it contained a grain of truth. "Just survival. The Archive's defensive measures are escalating. Without direct intervention, the quantum cascade will reach critical threshold in less than 30 minutes. She could see the calculations running behind Vex's glowing eyes. The Collector was weighing the risk of trusting her against the certainty of losing their prize if they didn't. "Do it," Vex finally ordered. Elena's hands moved across the interface, initiating the connection between systems. As she worked, she kept one eye on the quantum readings. The Archive's true defense system wasn't failing. It was doing exactly what the precursors had designed it to do. The real question was whether humanity could prove worthy of the trust being placed in them. A new message scrolled across her private display. "The moment approaches. The choice must be made. All paths converge." The synthetic collective's warning was clear. Whatever she was going to do, it had to be now. "Integration at 60%, she reported. "Quantum stability increasing." That much was true. The Archive's defensive measures were subsiding, recognizing the human presence as authorized users. What the Mirage didn't realize was that this authorization excluded them. "Collector," one of the technicians called out, "we're detecting unusual energy signatures from the human vessel." "Probably power fluctuations from maintaining the quantum link," Elena said smoothly. "The process requires significant energy." Vex nodded, but she could sense their suspicion growing. They weren't fools. They had to know she was planning something. The question was whether they could figure it out in time. "Integration at 80%, she announced. "Beginning final stabilization sequence." That's when everything went wrong. Or exactly right, depending on your perspective. The quantum link suddenly pulsed with blinding energy. Every system in the command center went dark for exactly 3 seconds. When they came back online, the displays showed something impossible. The Archive's quantum signature had vanished completely. "What have you done?" Vex roared, their massive form looming over Elena. "Me? Nothing." She stood her ground, showing no fear. "But I suggest you check your convergence engine. Carefully." The Collector spun toward their technicians, who were already frantically working their controls. "The engine, it's gone," the silver-streaked Mirage reported, their voice shaking. "All our research, the prototype, everything." "Not gone," Elena corrected. "Transferred, along with the archive's entire quantum database. Where? Vex demanded. Elena smiled. Everywhere. And nowhere. She gestured to the displays, which now showed thousands of quantum signatures scattered across the galaxy. We didn't just transfer the data, we redistributed it. Each fragment encoded with a unique quantum key, stored in systems so small and numerous they might as well be invisible. You've destroyed decades of work, Vex snarled. No, we've preserved it. The knowledge is still there, but now it can only be accessed by those who understand its true purpose. The precursors built their network to protect reality, not destroy it. The archive didn't just recognize us as users, it recognized us as guardians. The command center erupted in chaos as Vex issued rapid orders in their native language. But Elena wasn't finished. Oh, and one more thing. She tapped her tablet one final time. We took the liberty of transmitting evidence of your convergence engine project to every major species in the galaxy. I imagine the Stellar Council will have some questions about attempting to breach dimensional barriers in violation of about 15 different treaties. Vex went very still. You dare. We dare because that's what humans do. Elena interrupted. We see impossible situations, and we find ways to turn them on their head. You thought you could manipulate us, use us to gain control of forces you barely understand. Instead, we've ensured that the precursor knowledge will be preserved and protected as it was meant to be. A new voice filled the command center. The harmonic tones of Nexus 7. The choice has been made. The test is complete. The synthetic collective representative materialized between Elena and Vex, their liquid metal form rippling with approval. Test. Vex demanded. What test? The precursors left their legacy not to the strongest or most advanced species, Nexus 7 explained, but to those who would use it wisely. Humanity has proven themselves worthy of that trust. Elena felt a surge of pride, tempered by the weight of responsibility. They had won this round, but she knew it was only the beginning. The real work, understanding and protecting the precursor legacy, still lay ahead. But that was fine. After all, impossible challenges were what humanity did best. Legacy of Stars. 1 month after the confrontation in Europa's ice, Elena stood in the newly established Precursor Network Monitoring Center on Earth. Holographic displays filled the vast chamber, showing the countless quantum signatures of redistributed archive data glowing like stars across the galaxy. Status report, she asked, watching as her international team of scientists and engineers worked at various stations. Marcus looked up from his console, his face illuminated by quantum readings. The network is stable. The fragmented data is actually more secure than it was in the original archive. Each piece reinforces the others, creating a self-sustaining web of quantum information. And the Mirage, still facing inquiry from the Stellar Council. He grinned. Turns out lots of species had suspicions about their activities but lacked proof. The convergence engine documentation we released opened quite a few doors. Elena nodded, remembering the chaos that had followed their revelation. The Mirage Collector's reputation for acquiring artifacts had masked a far darker agenda, one that had nearly brought reality itself to the breaking point. A familiar harmonic tone announced the arrival of Nexus 7. The synthetic being's liquid metal form coalesced beside them, studying the displays with evident satisfaction. The precursors would be pleased, they said. Their network was never meant to be controlled by a single entity. It required cooperation, understanding, and above all, wisdom. Which raises a question, Elena replied. Why humanity? We're hardly the most advanced species out there. Advanced technology does not equal advancement of thought. Nexus 7's form rippled. The precursors understood that the universe requires balance. They sought guardians who could understand their work, but would not be tempted to abuse it. Your species' combination of curiosity, creativity, and moral awareness made you ideal candidates. Plus our stubborn refusal to accept no-win scenarios, Marcus added with a chuckle. Indeed. Nexus 7's tone carried amusement. Your solution to the archive crisis was uniquely human. No other species would have thought to essentially turn the entire galaxy into a distributed quantum database. Elena smiled, remembering the moment the plan had come together. We just applied the principles we found in the archive itself. The precursors believed in redundancy, in systems that could adapt and evolve. We simply took it to its logical conclusion. An alert chimed from one of the monitoring stations. A technician called out, "Dr. Santos, we're detecting unusual quantum signatures in the Carina sector." Elena moved to examine the readings, Nexus 7 flowing alongside her. The holographic display showed a cluster of data fragments beginning to reorganize themselves. "Is it supposed to do that?" Marcus asked. "Yes," Nexus 7 answered. "The network is not static. It learns, grows, responds to new challenges, just as the precursors intended. Which means our job is just beginning," Elena realized. "We're not just preserving their legacy, we're helping it evolve." The synthetic beings form, pulsed with approval. "Now you understand. This is why humanity was chosen. Not to be mere caretakers, but partners in the greatest scientific endeavor ever attempted." New data streams began flowing across the displays as the quantum network continued its self-organization. Elena watched in fascination as patterns emerged, hinting at discoveries yet to come. "We're receiving transmissions from other species," Marcus reported. "They're offering to help monitor the network in their sectors. It seems our little redistribution plan has encouraged cooperation. The precursors would definitely approve of that," Elena said. "Their technology was never meant to divide us. It was meant to bring us together." Nexus 7's form shifted, creating a representation of the original archive beneath Europa's ice. The true test was never about who could claim the archive. It was about who could understand its purpose and act accordingly. "And now?" Elena asked. "Now the real work begins." The precursors left more than knowledge. They left tools to help life flourish across the galaxy. Tools that require wisdom, creativity, and cooperation to use properly. Elena looked around the monitoring center, at humans working alongside holographic representatives from a dozen alien species, all focused on understanding and protecting the quantum network that connected them. "Well," she said with a smile, "humanity has never been one to back down from a challenge." Marcus laughed. "Especially impossible ones. There is an old precursor saying," Nexus 7 offered, their harmonic voice carrying across the chamber. "The greatest discoveries lie not in finding what was lost, but in seeing what was always there." Elena turned back to the displays, watching the dance of quantum signatures across the galaxy. They had preserved the precursor's legacy, but more importantly, they had proven that humanity was ready for a larger role in the cosmic community. The archive had been just the beginning. The real adventure, understanding and building upon the precursor's work while protecting it from those who would abuse it, was just getting started. And humanity, with all its creativity, determination, and stubborn refusal to accept limitations, was ready to lead the way.